Hello, welcome to the Mom series, The Misunderstanding of Multiplicity. I'm in my little corner where the light can't wipe me out here, and I wanted to make a video about multiple personality dissociative identity disorder and how the media portrays it, usually sensationalized and wrong, and how some circles of psychiatry propagate that. And how sometimes even the way we understand, those of us that experience life as multiple or have been diagnosed with MPD, which it was called before 1994, or DID, which it was called after 1994, how we experience it, and how in psychiatry trying to understand the cause and treat it, how they've actually altered the way many people do experience it, and how media does it too. So that's what I tend to look at, and I always come out and tell you about new books that I'm reading and stuff. So I read this book last year. It was called Saving Normal, and it's by Dr. Alan Francis, MD, who was the chair of the task force of the DSM-IV. And he is an insider who revolted strongly against the AMA, the American, not the AMA, the APA, American Psychiatric Association. I'll just read here. Saving Normal, an insider's revolt against an out-of-control psychiatric diagnosis, DSM-IV, Big Pharma, and the medicalization of ordinary life. The medicalization of ordinary life, and that's what I've been saying out here for a long while, is that there are a lot of ordinary events that happen to people that experience their life as multiple, and they're being made unordinary by giving meanings that don't really have anything, by applying meanings to everything. A good friend of mine, I remember years ago I was talking to him about this, and I was saying, it just seems like there are circles in psychiatry that want to unravel everything and make it worse, and just by trying to figure out every little aspect of it, defining it so tightly. And he got what I was saying, and he said, you don't fix what isn't broke. And he explained to me, he said, it's when somebody's matrixing, when they're applying meanings to things, that they just keep applying meaning, one more, and it keeps like domino effect. And he got it, and I appreciate that he got it. And Dustin's going to come say hello. Hello, Dustin. Okay. This person, this doctor, this wonderful doctor here gets it. This is a must-read. It was written in 2013. If you read this book, go ahead and grab yourself a copy of Medical Muses by Asti Hustupet. Because it's always good to have a good historical view alongside a new view to see how we got from like here to here. I'm doing this backwards. And to line them up together. Now again, I'm not saying there's no such thing as MPD or DID or multiplicity. What I'm saying is that psychiatry has made it something for many that it's not. What I'm saying is they have made it, now I believe what they have broken it down into is 3 models of causes with 4 components. So I tend to go back and reread everything very carefully, and there's always stuff that I miss when I read a book, so I love reading them over again. But if you pick up this book, and you read this book, you must read one more book you must read, and I'm waiting for mine to come from Amazon.com, and it's called Parts Therapy, a trauma-based self-state therapy for emotional healing, by Jay Norix. Now the reason I wanted to talk to you about this book is that book came out in 2011. This book came out in 2013. This book here came out in 2011, and it's all very relevant because DID and the diagnosing of DID, and many things was on the rise. What Jay Norix went into psychology field, but he began in anthropology, studying anthropography and ethnoscience in anthropology. And what he discovered by researching by observing a small Polynesian remote island was that people behaved in ways that made sense to their culture, and that what would appear abnormal to other people, or even crazy or like scary or loony, within their own phenomenon of behavior made perfect sense. Okay? And what he was more interested in was not assigning a meaning as to why they were behaving the way they did, but how they organized what was happening around them, and how they then dealt with an onslaught of sensory stimulation and emotional things and everything that was coming at them, anything, how they reacted, and how their mind organized data, and how they experienced it within their inner self, in their inner mind, their organization of their mind, and their inner world. And what he realized when he got into psychology was that doctors that were teaching patients about DID, and other doctors about DID, and treating patients with MPD DID, were pretty much teaching patients about parts therapy and explaining it in a way that he had observed in a culture where there was no etiology of pathology involved. Okay, no ideology of pathology involved. So it's a wonderful book. I've been reading the beginning of it on Kindle, and I'm just waiting. I should have mine by Tuesday, I think. And I'll let you know about that. But if you read that, then go to, you can't read that one without going to parts therapy. And I want to get his name for you. Okay, let me give you a description of parts therapy, because it's become the really in thing. And it's important to follow the cookie crumbs and do your homework. So, I don't know if you guys remember, a while ago I was talking about schema therapy, and it's called mode therapy, better known as role therapy. Schema therapy was developed by Jeffrey Young, who pretty much is saying that we all go into these different modes and behaviors and roles from how we see other people cope, and how we've learned to cope, and what we learned works for us. And that he uses it to treat a lot of people with borderline personality disorders, and but it can also be used for DID. Along with that, I did a video where I talked about internal family systems approach, and how I like to combine internal family systems approach, mode therapy, Carl Jung, all that together. Now, way back when, there was a gentleman named, let me get his name, Tibbetts, I can't remember, Charles Tibbetts, who practiced hypnotherapy, and he taught and practiced a lot of different ways. He taught and practiced parts therapy. Since then, Roy Hunter, who is a therapist, who is a parts therapy trainer, he's been running courses, and he wrote 2 books on hypnotherapy. Well, he wrote a ton of books, actually. If you go to www.royhunter.com, parts training, what you'll see, it's growing in popularity again. So you have schema therapy, which is mode therapy, and now you go to the DID project, which is being, I think it's kind of being seen by some as part of an awareness campaign, but I see it as a continuation of the ISSTD. The ISSTD is the International Society for Trauma and Dissociation. Even though these people do wonderful work with survivors of 9/11, survivors of war veterans, people that go through earthquakes and horrific, horrible events, they still hang their hat on DID models and how to treat it and what causes it. And if you go to the DID project, which many people are at now, instead of being out here on YouTube and blogging so much, the DID project, Trauma and Dissociation DID project, is on Twitter, it's on Facebook, it's on WordPress, it's on Blogger, it's on YouTube, it's everywhere. But they really are, many of them follow the criteria of the ISSTD, which was founded by the original founders were Dr. Richard Clough, Dr. Bennett Braun, Dr. Frank Putman, and Dr. Colin Ross. Dr. Colin Ross went and got his own institute. I believe Dr. Ralph Ellison was there too. Who else? Phillips, Dr. Siegel. Dr. Siegel was there too. Junior. So there were quite a few GrandPuppas of Multiplicity studying dissociation who started that society, and they really do hang their hat on knowing what causes DID and having a pretty good idea of it being trauma. And even though they give 3 models with 4 different components, they always go back to one form of cure, which is fusion integration. And the interesting thing is that if you go to the Dissociative Identity Disorder.org, Did You Know Facts website, you'll see on the right side, it'll tell you everyone can have many parts in their personality, but nobody can have more than one personality. Nobody. And then they'll go on to tell you why it happens. They'll give you a glossary. They'll define it so tightly that, I mean, it really is following the ISSTD agenda. So that's the only reason I've kind of like stayed a little bit away from the DID project, because I feel like I'm not certain of their professional scholarly articles. I've read some of the articles by Sarah Sabs in Psych Central, and she's got wonderful articles. But I do know that they do a lot of training at the ISSTD, and they certify people. Now, one of the calling cards of getting people into the ISSTD and the DID project is that a lot of the people that are part of this panel were diagnosed with DID or MPD, or they were professionals and then were diagnosed with DID and wanted to go back and work with people with trauma. So, I mean, everybody has been going there. They have a lot of great information, a lot of great people working there, but I cannot ignore the history of the ISSTD. I just can't. So, if you read Medical Muses, you read Saving Normal and Parts Psychotherapy by Jay Norris, you'll find that the only thing that keeps changing is the name of the experience and the possible causes, which are adding on more and more possible trauma causes. And Big Pharma has gotten involved with medication now. What doesn't change is that most multiples all continue to hang out together somewhere, whether it's on YouTube or it's at the DID project. So I'm one that likes to dabble my feet in the shallow water. I don't like to jump right in, so I've been very cautious about the DID project, not knowing what the whole agenda is there, but I just wanted to tell you to go ahead and take a look at the parts therapy that they're promoting now, and you'll see that it's very old. It's nothing new, and it does involve role play, naming people, and hypnosis. And that's all I want to say. Okay, take care. Have a nice day. Bye.